World of Warcraft started with a simple monetization model. You buy the game, pay the monthly subscription, and that's it. However, over the years, Blizzard has introduced more and more monetized aspects of the game that were exclusively only obtainable by playing and unlocking content through the gameplay itself. As it stands today, Blizzard monetizes WoW players by paying for the game, buying expansions, paying the monthly subscription fee, and also cosmetic items and in-game benefits. How exactly did Blizzard break down the WoW player base to make this acceptable? In this video, I will be going over some of the techniques Blizzard has used to nickel and dime us WoW players to the extent that we have today. I think the WoW cash shop is one of the most clear examples of this slippery slope. It isn't just a fallacy, but actually has some merit in making what was previously unthinkable become the norm. In 2008, Blizzard merged with Activision, and shortly after, in 2009, we began seeing the start of the WoW cash shop. Now, it's worth mentioning that up to 2009, there was things you could buy in-game in World of Warcraft, things like realm transfers. That was like the main thing. But 2009 is when we have the real modern version of the WoW cash shop. Blizzard announced that you could now buy the Little Kel'Thuzad pet and a Pandaren monk pet, and 50% of purchases on this pet would actually go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The only thing with this is that it would only apply for basically a month, like until the year ended, and this event was in November. So it was about like a month where 50% of the profit that they made from selling this Pandaren pet would go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Now, this is the beginning, so like you can kind of see where Blizzard is like trying to like introduce this concept of paying for cosmetic items and WoW, but you can tell they felt a bit guilty about it, or at least they felt that the player base would kind of be a bit furious, so they slipped this like charity angle into it, which, considering it only lasted a month, wasn't like the greatest, but you could quite easily see someone defending this and be like, okay, well, I mean, 50% of these sales go to charity, so, you know. If you want to change the mind of a group of people, you actually have to have some inbuilt defense into what you are doing. And I think that charity angle was just that. They realized that if we're going to start this cash shop monetization model, let's have a bit of a charity angle to it just to get people to warm up to it. That being said, the reaction from the player base in 2009 to this first iteration of the cash shop was quite negative, and even some people correctly identified what was happening here. To quote a player called Tetrodotoxin, what's next? XP enhancing potions? Characters? Gold? Yeah, I think he kind of hit the nail on the head. The only thing that he got wrong with this prediction is that there'll be XP enhancing potions. Not technically true, but you do actually buy a character boost in all iterations of WoW now. It's not in the form of a potion, but it's in the form of something you get on the character select screen. And like you can expect, people's responses to this and other people, you know, talking about the slippery slope argument was, oh no, that's BS. Blizzard would never do this. It's just cosmetic items. It's only for charity. Well, it turns out this slippery slope argument had some merit. People's fear-mongering about Blizzard selling more than cosmetic items did actually come to pass, and you know, we actually saw what happened with the WoW cash shop. Like, you can get WoW tokens, which is basically buying WoW gold, and character boosts. Blizzard then dabbled with selling mounts. TRH, or the Celestial Steed, came out in about 2010. This was the first mount you could buy for about 25 bucks, and it became kind of a laughingstock. Like, again, the WoW player base at the time was very adamant against cash shop items. In fact, having this was seen as kind of a mark against you as a player. In fact, Total Biscuits, rest in peace, was one of the people that memed the TRH meme, and it became kind of like a mark of shame to have the Celestial Steed. You're buying something that should actually be unlockable in-game with real cash. Not long after this, there was also the little Moonkin pet and the little Ragnaros pet. And again, they had that 50% Make-A-Wish Foundation donation. But remember, these are still like the early days of the WoW cash shop. So like, you can see that Blizzard knows that there is going to be a bit of backlash. So that charity angle is like a pre-built defense. It kind of waves off some criticism or people speculating about like a slippery slope. But this was necessary in the early days just to like get this monetization model, not have WoW players completely freak out. Because at this time, the only thing you could actually buy with like actual money in game was these cosmetic items. And even then, there is still quite an argument against this because, you know, WoW development time is being put into these cool, unique looking pet models and mount models that are always unique skins and really cool looking that you can't actually unlock in game. But let's just like zoom out a bit and look at the monetization model of World of Warcraft. First of all, you have to buy the game, buy the expansions, pay the monthly subscription, and then you also get monetized on buying cosmetic items like it's a free-to-play mobile game. Like, holy shit. How greedy is this? I used to be the king of WoW clickbait, and even I think that's pretty money grubbing. Like, the only monetization model that Blizzard hasn't unlocked is in-game advertisements. That's the only thing, that's the only revenue stream they haven't, like, tapped into yet. But geez, like, if something's a subscription model game, that should be the end of it. Like, you're paying to play the game month by month. You shouldn't be charged to get cool looking items in the game. Like, it's not free to play. Like, that's acceptable in a free to play model, but somehow it's cool in World of Warcraft. It's just very bizarre. But all of this is cosmetic items. When Warlords of Draenor was announced, Blizzard introduced a system where buying the expansion would then unlock your character to 90, or you could apply a boost to one of your characters to hit level 90, going from 1 to 90, so you can jump right into the content, simultaneously offering an option where you could pay to do this as well. But since most people buying the Warlords of Draenor expansion, so paying for it wasn't really seen as a thing, but they introduced it side by side to buying the expansion. This is very interesting. Now, I believe this comes down to the Overton window. Now, for those that don't know what the Overton window is, it's when you take something that is extreme and introduce it to a group of people in the hopes that they'll react negatively to it, but over time it will be seen as more normal. And then something even more extreme that comes after it will now make the previous extreme thing seem like a compromise or the norm. Now, this is most noteworthy in politics, and that's when it's used the most. And I would say like the progressives, like liberal side, are absolute masters of moving the Overton window. Like, if you look at what liberals were talking about in like the early aughts and compare it to now, it's like, holy shit, you guys have moved far. Like, they're very good at introducing something that is widely disliked at the time, but then introduce something that is even more extreme that is widely disliked, and then that previous thing now seems like a compromise. And this is how you actually change people's perception of something over time. Now, you see with Blizzard, they're very careful when introducing like a new monetization aspect. They're very cautious of making it not seem so egregious to the players. So like, they started with the charity angle to like selling cosmetic items like pets, which they no longer do, by the way. Like, if you look at the cash shop with like WoW pets and mounts, like there's no charity angle, there's no pretense of giving to charity anymore. They don't need to. Like, the Overton window has already been moved far enough that they don't need to care about it anymore. But they had that charity angle at the time, and I think that is a strategic choice. And when the boosts like first got introduced, they gave everybody a free boost, basically, so that the buy a level 90 boost option that came alongside the free level 90 boost option didn't seem so bad, and it kind of got swept under the rug because they were basically giving everybody a free sample, right? And then after that, they no longer had to give people a free level 90 boost. Now you have to pay for it. I think this is very strategic. When a new revenue stream is introduced by Blizzard, they kind of make it seem a bit more appetizing and appealing by either having like the charity angle or giving people free stuff alongside it to like kind of squash the criticism. And my argument supporting this is, well, look at the cash shop today. There is no level boosts given out for free anymore. There are no charity donations with cash shop pets and items. That had its purpose in the time for moving the Overton window, and now it's no longer needed. And after the level boost system was introduced, there was then the WoW token. Now, the WoW token is really quite mind-blowing for a lot of like old school WoW players that were, you know, reacting to it at the time. We've had it drilled into our heads by Blizzard that buying WoW gold is like the act of like Satan, and like you just don't do it, like it's cheating, right? And here Blizzard is basically selling gold. Now the idea behind this, like what Blizzard was saying, is that, well, if we introduce this system, it's going to undercut some of the third-party gold sellers. You know, the Chinese WoW gold farms and the stuff that was raging on throughout World of Warcraft's life cycle. This was an official option, and it would then hopefully phase out the third-party gold farmers, and everything's going to be hunky-dory, right? No, not really, because WoW gold farming is still rampant and is oftentimes cheaper than what you can get from like the WoW token. So it hasn't done that. It's just, what it has done is enabled a revenue stream for Blizzard, and some players that have more time than money can convert grinding gold and WoW into unlocking game time. But it hasn't done the use case that it was advertised to actually accomplish. There was plenty of gold farmers, plenty of bots. But let's look back. We started with selling WoW pets, where 50% of it was given to the Make-A-Wish Foundation charity. And now Blizzard is straight up selling gold to players, and level boosts. Yeah, things have gone quite far. So this is a very interesting phenomenon, and I think this is actually quite an interesting concept, this concept of the Overton window, and how things that are widely rejected at the time by a group of people, in this example the WoW player base, become normalized and eventually accepted as things get even more and more extreme. Now, I want you to imagine something. Think about World of Warcraft loot boxes. I know, you may recoil at that thought and think, oh, there's no way Blizzard is going to have WoW loot boxes. That's not going to be a thing. Well, as crazy as this sounds, don't forget the crazy WoW cash shop that Tetrodotoxin envisioned in the WoW forums of 2009 is the reality today. That crazy wild speculation he had and other players had is now how it is. So I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss the idea of World of Warcraft having things like loot boxes or in-game advertisements. It hasn't gotten that bad, but if history is anything to go by, it might become a thing.